further ado, I'm going to share a very quick few slides with you with some lovely flowers to inspire you, and then I'm going to hand over to Joan for the practical demo. So I hope you can all see this slide. So I just thought I'd pop this up because it just outlines some of the free information and support that you can get from Trellis, as well as live Zoom. We've got online training. We've got lots of activity videos on the Trellis YouTube channel. There's activity sheets to download for free. Oh, we've got the year-round gardening book, which is coming out very soon. It's on sale and it's got loads of activities throughout the year. There's some lovely autumn ones that will be useful to you in the next season. So there's spring, summer, autumn and winter. So a great thing, and it's on sale soon. We'll no doubt send you an email to let you know how to get a hold of it. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to just quickly show you this. We're talking about the top 4 flowers and the top 3 foliage plants to grow for summer colour and to cut for easy flower arranging. So what have we got? So many flowers can be cut, can be grown easily from seed, and here are a few of them. They include Antirrhinums, Cleome, Cornflower, Dahlia, and I think that's Gora, I think that's how you pronounce it, Larkspur and Rudbeckia. And they're beautiful. Look at this gorgeous dahlia here with the lovely graded colours, pale sort of that really strong pink on the outside, and then it gets darker in the centre, and then that beautiful yellow stamens in the middle. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Lots of colour, blues, whites, pinks, oranges, and these lovely purples. Fabulous. Many flowers that you can grow easily. So the top 4, these are Joan's top 4, by the way. Sunflowers, the dwarf bush variety are very suitable for vase displays. They're easy to germinate, so that means they're easy to sow the seed and the seed comes through quickly and easily. You can grow it in any type of soil, and they grow particularly well in containers. These dwarf varieties, that means they're small, they don't grow tall. These are low growing. They don't need any staking, so you don't need to have things to hold them up. They're nice and easy, they hold themselves up, nice and easy to grow. And they're fun, aren't they? They're lovely and cheery looking plants. And they can be a valuable source of food for bees and insects and birds. As you know, they produce lots of sunflower seeds later on in the year when they're mature. So then we've got calendula. So these are lovely cheerful plants as well. They're also easy to grow, and the more you cut the blooms, the more flowers that the plant makes. So they're robust, they're quite large blooms, and it's nice if they're nice and visible if you're growing them outside in a pot and you want to be able to see them from the windows or the patio doors. They're lovely because they sort of shine out with their lovely strong colours and the size of their blooms. Bees and beneficial insects love them too, and you can eat them. A bonus, we can eat them, so that's fantastic. You can pop that in your salad. There's also zinnias. These are lovely. These are ideal for the first time growers. They're quick to grow and they're reliable. They flower easily, and they're available in a whole range of colour, and they're very vibrant and strong and colourful. They're perfect for flower arrangements, because you can they've got short or tall stems, taller stemmed ones too, and sometimes you want a good length of stem to be able to cut it down to the size you want. They are loved by butterflies as well, so you can attract butterflies to your garden with them, and it's a very popular flower with florists. So there's another colourful beauty, and this is a very pretty plant, Cosmos. It's another one that does very well. It doesn't need any special soil conditions. It grows easily, and it's got lovely paper-like flowers on tall stems. It's very attractive and delicate. And it's got tall and short varieties as well, so you can have a lot of interest in your pots in terms of height. And also it's very attractive to butterflies and bees. So growing all these flowers, you're going to have a lovely wildlife garden as well as lots to cut and bring indoors. So here's some suggestions for some foliage that you might want to grow. And the beauty of growing foliage is you can cut it to bring in, and it's not only does it highlight the plants that you have growing outdoors, but when you bring it in to put it in arrangement, it's lovely contrast against the colour of the flowers, and it enhances the look of the flowers that you've got in your arrangement. And it's great for filling in the gaps. You don't have to have, doesn't have to be just all flowers, you can fill in the gaps, so you can get away with just a few blooms and some foliage, and it makes a very complete and lovely arrangement. So one of the first suggestions is eucalyptus, and that's an evergreen which grows quickly. It needs regular pruning, so you're doing it a favour by going out and snipping bits off that you can bring in and use indoors. And it's got these lovely silvery blue paper-like leaves, and it's got a lovely smell of eucalyptus. It's a lovely aroma that you get from it. So it's a nice one, a nice sensory smelling one. Now here we're talking about ferns, which have got fantastic textures and shapes. Look at all those lovely leaves and stalks there. Many are evergreen, and they keep well in water. They quite like damp conditions, so they're delighted to be in a vase full of water with other flowers. And often you get ferns, they've got that lovely shape where they're just unfurling themselves, and they've got that lovely curly shape when they're growing. They're beautiful. Very lovely in spring and early summer. And here's another one which is interesting, which is mint, which you can also eat that. It'll have a lovely minty smell, and that's great for sensory, for just enjoying the sensory aspects of it. It's easy to grow, and you can get nice tall stems to cut to bring indoors. And its mid-green leaves works well with spring pastel colours and summer brights. And so it's a great all-rounder for whatever kind of flowers you have growing. So that's enough from me. I'm going to hand over to Joan to find out how to do all this wonderful stuff with your flowers indoors. Thanks very much. Joan.
Okay, thanks, Jenny. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen now, and I'm going to show a little video that kind of like fills in all the seed sowing part of it till I get up to the stage where we've actually got flowers to work with. So let me just find this, and hopefully it will start playing. Do you see that all right, Jenny?
Yes, thanks. Right. That's it.
Growing flowers for cutting isn't tricky at all, and certainly saves on cash and on thousands of air miles. Many of the easy-to-grow flowers have decent-sized seeds to handle, and these seeds are easily sourced in supermarkets and garden centres. Flower growing might have been a favourite pastime, and one that we can easily rekindle. Make a tabletop activity out of seed sowing in early spring, and germinate the seeds on a warm windowsill, or sow directly into a larger outdoor pot and grow outdoors from May. So we need some compost, seed trays, or perhaps recycle some fruit boxes, a spoon to scoop with, pen and labels, a small watering can or bottle, and of course your choice of seeds. I'm sowing a bush variety of sunflower that makes short stems of flowers, ideal for using in vases. So break up any lumpy bits of compost and use a bedding plant section from last year or a yogurt pot with drainage holes pierced in it. Fill the container about 4/5 full, then level off the compost. Pop 1 sunflower seed into each wee box or yoghurt pot and press the seed about 1 centimetre down into the compost. Level the compost flat again and label the containers with the plant name and today's date. Then water well with a small watering can or watering bottle. Set the seed container into a tray and set on a bright warm windowsill. And keep the compost moist but not soggy and water into the tray from now on. Seedlings will germinate, that's sprout through the compost, in 7 to 10 days. And sunflowers have much smaller seeds, and several can be scattered over the compost layer, then covered over with a fine layer of compost before watering. And don't fret, as different flower seeds all germinate at different times, so be patient. And a plastic box is a great way of storing seed containers and can be sat at a patio door and moved around when needed. And once the seedlings have 4 to 6 leaves on their wee stems, start to harden them off. That's getting them used to outdoors temperatures and living outdoors, but only do this if it's not frosty. Now, seed sowing might prove too tricky, so try growing flowers from tubers, which are like small bulbs and could be easier to handle. Plant the wee tubers directly into a patio pot of compost, following the great information given on the tubers packaging. Keep them well watered and they'll soon peek through and bulk out with lush foliage, and then the colourful blooms will appear. These tubers will die down for winter time, but will regrow the following spring. Or how about growing a larger cutting area? You might have an empty raised bed or a bit of a bare border somewhere. Use canes to mark out zones to plant a variety of flowering tubers and seedlings into. Water well and watch them grow. Feeding with plant food will help make plenty of healthy stems, which in turn will give you plenty of flowers to cut for your vases. And picking the flowers regularly will encourage the plant to keep on flowering also. And fill wee jam jars of your own homegrown flowers to enjoy yourself or to share with others.
Okay, so that's just to set the scene a little bit and to kind of show where I've got to. Now, it did say on my video there to sow these flowers, the zinnia and the cosmos and calendula during March, April time. Ideally, that's when you want to do it, but it's not too late. And here's a little pot of this is Cosmos that I sowed last week, and the date on it is the 1st of June, so that was a week ago, no, Tuesday, I can't remember, last week anyway. So they're only a week old, maybe 8-9 days old, and these will certainly flower this year for me, so don't be put off by thinking, oh, it's too late to sow some seeds. You can still do it. You can sow the seeds and germinate them on the windowsill. And then as soon as they're at this stage, get them outside and they will soon survive. They'll grow on great because there's no chance of any frost any longer. I've got this plant sitting up here to show you. In Jenny's PowerPoint presentation and in my video, I was showing the Cosmos, and this is a frilly white one which I just particularly like, and I like to grow every year. And this is it. I just sowed some of the seeds directly into a big pot like this, and I did germinate them indoors. And these have been growing now for, oh gosh, probably about, yeah, it must be 8 weeks now. These plants are really quite old, but that's their flower heads just starting, the buds are starting to develop, and it just makes a great cutting plant. So I will cut, I've got loads of these pots actually outside, so I will cut some of them for bringing indoor to make these floral arrangements, but I'll also keep loads of them just in their pots because they fill a huge space for very little money. So that's the cosmos, so I'll put it out the way. We spoke about the sunflowers, and this is one of the sunflowers that appeared as a seed, and then we saw them germinating, and this is it barely growing, I think you might agree. Now, I'm not sure if you will be able to see, but you can see at the side here, there's lots of little buds forming. You can see the main head here. Now, normally a sunflower is just one tall stem, in between 5 and 7 foot tall. The one big flower, sunflower head on it, but this is the bush one that we spoke about. So I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, oh no, 10 buds already forming in this. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm going to pot this into a bigger pot, and I'm looking forward to having all these smaller sunflower heads, a bit like this one here, that I'm going to be able to cut and put into a vase. But I will leave some of them outdoors growing, just so that I've got that big pot of cherry sunflowers. So there's plenty to be growing outside if you have, it's still not too late to sow sunflowers as well, so have a go at doing that if you would like to. This is just a wee stray calendula that I brought in just to show you. I found it in its pot. It looks rather neglected, but it's really cheery, and I might take it inside and have it. We're having salad for tea tonight, so I might, I don't know, I feel quite bad going to eat it now. Oh dear, there's a dilemma I have to think about later. So that's a calendula, and that's it starting to grow. But before I go any further, I want to just kind of like change tack completely, and you might notice I have got some very nice teacups with me, and we're going to be talking about herbs for a little bit at the end of the session. So I want to just start making a bit of a cup of tea just now, and it can be brewing or stewing or infusing, every which word you want to use, while I'm doing all my talking. So I've got my teacups, and this plant here, if I pull it forward, you can see this is a mint. This is actually a white spearmint plant, and I'm just going to take my fingers and just snap the stem off. I'm going to pull these leaves. Oh my goodness, we have to speak with Zoom, Jenny, and get scent in here, because just breaking up these leaves, the smell of mint is quite lovely actually. So I'm just ripping these, nothing fancy, just ripping them up a little bit. So that's maybe, I don't know, half a small handful of mint leaves I've put in there. Now, chamomile is another plant that grows well. This is growing in a pot beautifully. You might want to have it growing in between paving. It's nice because you can walk over it and it's nice and robust, but the only problem about walking over it, it doesn't really get to make the flowers. But the flowers make a beautiful tea. You can use the leaves as well, but the flowers are the much better part of the plant to make a chamomile tea. So this is some dried chamomile that I have in this little jar here. So I'm just going to put a teaspoonful of the dried chamomile flowers in there like so. And in true Blue Peter style, I have got my flask of hot water here. So I'm just going to fill my cup up. My mint and my chamomile, and I'm going to set them to the side. get me, I've even got matching saucers. So I'm going to put the saucer over the top to trap the heat and to trap that perfume and let it infuse in there. So that's that wee job happening just now. And I'm now going to drag you back to talking about the cut flowers. So we've now got all our cut flowers, or they don't even have to be specifically grown for cut flowers, like the calendula, the zinnia, the cosmos, and the sunflowers that we spoke about. There's other plants that are growing in the garden that will lend themselves to cutting as well. This white Lysomachia, this one here, grows dead easy in the garden. It's a perennial plant, it comes up every year. This one is your blue Veronica, really hardy, does well in Scotland. Beautiful plant to have in the garden. Next to no effort to grow it. It comes up every year. All you've got to do is cut the stems and enjoy them. This is a spray chrysanthemum that I do not grow myself. So I got this out of the florist. I've got fern growing in my garden. So I've cut some fern here. That was from the florist just off there. But I'm just going to, I just went daft out in the garden this morning. This is, gosh, I've just forgotten the name of this. I'll come back to me in a minute. This is foliage, just cut out the garden. This is Spirea bridal wreath. It's just got lots of buds. It's going to burst into flowers shortly. This is a wee plant. It's going to have nice wee white flowers on it soon. What else have I got? The eucalyptus that Jenny spoke about in our PowerPoint presentation. All this lovely foliage, nice and soft, and it's that kind of like purpley pink. It's just beautiful. It's the best plant you can plant in your garden for all year round foliage. What else have I got down here? I cut, this is Weigela. This is a shrub that grows very well in a garden. Now this plant is just about to go over. I wouldn't probably use this, but I wanted to bring it in just to show you how easy it is to get flowers that are growing in the garden, and you can cut them and bring them indoors. So harvesting your flowers, always wear gloves. Do as I say, not as I do. I'm not wearing gloves, but that's me being silly. So always wear gloves just to prevent, you know, some people have got very sensitive skins. My hands are like old leather boots. So I seem to get on okay, but always wear gloves just to prevent any irritations. When you're cutting your flowers, whether they're like the flowers that I'm speaking about here or your foliage, try and do it in the morning when it's nice and cool, there's plenty of dew about. Avoid doing it in the middle of the day during the warm and sunny times. Pick the flowers when the bud is just starting to show show colour. So this one here is not flower, the colour is still to come all the way up the top of the flower. So it's starting to show flower colour here. So I'll cut it, I've cut it and I've brought them in. If there was no colour showing, the bud is still too tight and it might not actually fully develop into a flower, and you'll just have stems of bud in your vase or in your arrangement, which isn't the effect that you're looking for. Once you've collected them, place them into a bucket or a big tub or a container of cold water as soon as you can. Don't leave them lying about for too long. And if you're really concerned about bugs and things like that being on the plants when you bring them indoors, place the bucket into a dark space, and any wee hiding bugs will actually leave that dark environment. They'll soon see like a wee crack in the door or something where the light is, and they will make a beeline for that light because they don't want to live in that dark environment. So that will get rid of your bugs without you having to do anything with them directly. So when we are working with our foliage, I've just picked this one up. This is, I keep on forgetting. It's going to come to me, it's going to annoy me. When we're working with our stems, always use sharp scissors. try and keep a pair of scissors specifically for the job. Good sharp kitchen scissors will do the job, but you might not want to, you know, it's best that you have a pair of scissors specifically for the job, or you might have a pair of garden scissors. These are florist scissors, and these are garden scissors. Both will do the same job. They're both very sharp. So a sharp cut is important because you don't want a ragged edge on the stem. You want a nice clean stem cut so that there's no rags, which can attract, you know, sort of like decay, and the plant will go over, the flower stem will go over really, really quickly. Another reason you want a clean stem is if you crush it, the tissue in here doesn't absorb the water so well, so always make sure it's a nice clean cut. Cut it a bit of an angle, and that's you creating more area that is in touch with the water, therefore the plant will absorb more water more readily, keeping it nice and fresh also. What else can I tell you? If your stems are starting to droop, get a bucket of warm water just off the boil water, or boil the water, put it in the bucket, and then once it's, you know, it's not boiling hot anymore, just plunge the stems into the water and pull them out straight away, and that can reinvigorate the stems. Once you have made your vase up or your container of flowers up, change the water every 2 to 3 days if you can. In fact, you really should, because the water starts to get, well, first of all, it starts to look dirty, which isn't good, but it's not fresh, and the flower stems must have fresh water all the time for them to do well, and you don't want it to start smelling either. Every time you empty the vase of water, take a small snip off the end of the stems so that you're always having a clean piece of stems tissue in contact with the fresh water. If you've got any woody stems, like so this foliage, this harder piece of foliage that I brought in from indoors, so I just grab my pictures, cut.
We can't, Joan, we can't see that because of the foliage there. Oh,
Can you see that?
that's good.
Okay.
That's better. Yeah.
You want to, now I need my glasses on to do this, but you want to cut a vertical stem, cut a vertical cut up the stem, like so, maybe about 5 centimeters, in this woody material, and that allows this particular woody material to absorb the water better also. So that's just some wee tips to keep the plants in good, the foliage and the stems of flowers in good condition for you to make nice floral arrangements. Now we need a container or a vase. So always make sure that you're using a clean vase. I've got a selection of things that I've collected out of charity shops and pound shops, and anything that can hold water I will put a floral arrangement into, but always make sure it's clean. If you've not used it for a wee while, just give it a quick swirl roundabout in the sink, wash it out and make sure it's rinsed well. Put fresh water into the vase, about 2/3 full, and if you have bought some florist, some flowers out of the supermarket or a florist, and you get that wee sachet of plant food with it, always use it. It's really, really important because it's got food inside it, which gives the plant energy to continue developing its bud and turn it into a flower. It's got biocides to combat any bacteria to maintain the plant health, and it's got acidifiers to adjust the pH of the water, which helps the plant absorb the food that's in the water. So it is really important to use that plant food if you get it. If you don't get any plant food, you can make your own. 1 litre of water, you can put in a tablespoonful of vinegar and a teaspoonful of sugar. Give it a good swirl roundabout, and that will do a very similar job to the plant food. But as I say, the plant food is really brilliant if you can get your hands on that. So I want to start doing a wee bit of, put this out the way, a wee bit of floral arranging. Going outside and collecting the foliage is an activity in itself, and that, as I've explained, you could do that the day before and keep it cool and dark during the day, overnight, and that's it ready to use for the activity the next day. Or maybe you've got all the energy and you can go outside and do everything in the one time. Now, don't worry about not having a vase. I've got a vase here that I've now actually managed to put some soil into when I've been flapping about with things, so it's going to look a wee bit dirty, and I don't want to go inside and wash it out, so we'll just excuse that part. But you can use jam jars. I've got a jam jar here. It's got some water in it that I was just sticking some plants in, some of my stems into, or you can use anything that has ever held liquid in. So this is a takeaway coffee cup that you could use as a container for keeping things in. I just love all these wee jam jars. You get all your different jams and marmalades and things like that in, so they're great to have. And of course you can make extension activities out of them by painting them or placing stickers around them, even just like a simple ribbon just to decorate it. There's lots of activity involved before you even get to filling it with water and doing the floral arrangement. So what I want to do here is use this particular vase, but I'm going to take some sellotape and I'm going to make a grid with sellotape across the top of it. Now you probably won't see it, but you can hear me doing that. So
Joan, could you move the foliage that's on your right hand side? Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. That's better.
Right, okay, Groovy.
Yeah,
Right.
that's great.
Just sticking the sellotape over the this is me creating my grid. Now, I can see this quite clearly, but those with poor eyesight might not, and I'm assuming you guys can't see it very well either. So just take a marker pen and you could squiggle over the sellotape, and that will help identify for anyone with poorer eyesight, and also help with those with poorer hand-eye coordination to have a bit of a guide here to see that. So hopefully you can see that a little bit better also. Yep. So I'll move my sellotape out of the way. And you will notice I've not put water in here. Put the water in before you do the sellotape. It's just I'm not using water in case we have an accident and then you'll have to watch me mop up. So we don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some of this foliage that I've been working with. This is a little birch. I've just remembered the name of it. It's birch. It's a little shrub birch, as opposed to the big silver birch trees you can think of outside. Okay, so I want to use this lovely, vibrant, it's just lovely coloured foliage, and I'm visualising a circle around my vase. Now, there's lots of online tutorials and videos on how to do perfect floristry. If you've got the time, I would recommend you go and have a wee look at it. I'm self-taught and I just go by what I see as attractive. And at the end of the day, the arrangement is for yourself or as a gift you want to give to someone else. So how you see it looking nice is absolutely perfect. So I want to take off any stems at the bottom because I don't want these stems sitting in the water. I'm just going to snip off these side stems, and nope, that one's going to be in the water, so I'm going to take that one off, and this one, and just plonking it in. Same with this one. And peel these wee bits off. They're nice and soft. Cut this one. Move that to the side. Yep, so that's me kind of got my first circle going on here. I'm going to take some of this lovely floppy eucalyptus foliage, and I'm kind of thinking that I want this to be a wee bit taller at the back here. So definitely not any taller than double the height of the vase, the container, but the size and a half again is ideal height wise. Again, peeling off the stems, sorry, the leaves and any side shoots or stems that will end up being in the water. And I'm just trying to bulk this out to get lots of space. Introducing height. And as Jenny mentioned, the foliage is great, it's acting as a filler. We've got all this froth going on here, and I've not got any flowers in it yet, which is what I'm aiming for. Start at the front. And of course, having this grid makes everything stay standing. All the stems are fairly well self-supported, which is what I'm wanting. If I were to put this into a vase, you've probably done it where things fall over and one flops to the side and the next one falls over and the one that you want to stay standing upright doesn't. So this is a great way of making sure that happens. It's just a wee bit too tall. Cut that one. Yeah, there we go. Lots of froth in there, as I call it, lots of frothy foliage. And I'm now going to take my blue Veronica. I've got 3 of them that I've cut. Cut them, cutting them at an angle as I mentioned earlier on, so that they can take up. There's more area there to take up the water. When you're putting in your stems, always work in odd numbers if you can. 3 is good because I'm thinking of this as like a third, a third, a third. And then I'm going to take my Lysmachia, this white one, same idea, cut the stems at an angle. And flip them in. Now, I would put some more bits and bobs in here. I'd probably put in some Dipsophilia to fill in some of the gaps. But hopefully you can see this arrangement starting to take place. I'm keen to get on to something else because I'm quite conscious of what the time is. But hopefully you can see how that started to take shape, and the grid really works well to help develop confidence really in having a goal and knowing that the plant is going to stay in the right position once you've positioned it. So what I would like to show you now is jam jar, some gravel, and this is, and that's one of my cups of tea just spilled over, but anyway, these are chives, and they make these lovely purple flowers. So what I'm going to do is make a posy of chives. Just cutting the stems. Now, cutting the stems is good because it will encourage it to make fresh chives that I will be able to use in the kitchen as opposed to letting them shoot and make flowers. So I'm doing the plant the world of good by doing that also. So I'll move that to the side. So I've got a wee bunch of purple chive flowers. I've got a little stem of the birch that I spoke about, cutting everything to the same height. And this is a wee osteo. But again, there's lots of buds coming here. If I cut this one off, it'll encourage these wee buds to burst into flower. So I'm getting the benefit of these. Move that to the side. Now, all I've done is made a little posy, and maybe this would be an ideal little activity for a group to do that didn't have the confidence to make a bigger vase arrangement like the one that I've just done. So that's just a wee bit tall. You can see I'm measuring the jam jar against my stems. So I'm going to cut this a little bit, like so. Perfect. Team effort here. I'm going to peel off these bottom leaves. I don't want any leaves in here at all. That's still a wee bit tall, sorry. Need to cut a little bit more off. So this is just pea gravel, drainage gravel, horticultural grit. It's a nice colour, nice and tactile to work with as well. One person can hold the stems inside the vase. The other one can grab the gravel and fill the stems. Holding the posy in its position. Turn that round. As I say, a two-man job. Nice wee group activity to get involved in. A nice tidy finish to the top. And we have our little posy of flowers sitting there with no effort but lots of colour. And then once it's in position, I would water this so that there's water in there for the plants to actually soak up the water and stay nice and fresh for a good few days. So that's that one. That maybe would be a good one to try with a client group. So herbs. This mint that I made into my cup of tea is a great filler for a floral arrangement also, and the perfume, the scent that's coming off of this is really absolutely amazing. So always think about using other things in the garden, introducing scent and perfume and colour. I've got one, where's that little plant going? Oh yeah. This is a shrub that grows in the garden, mock orange it's called, and again you can't smell it, but the perfume that comes off this is absolutely delicious. And even just to stick a little stem like that into a skinny jam jar with some water, with a wee ribbon tied round about it, would be a lovely way of bringing the outdoors indoors. And this was a wee bud that fell off of it when I was bringing it in earlier on. And I thought, you know, even just taking the time to look at the bud and just pass it round about, this probably won't come to anything because the bud's far too tight. But there's 4 wee buds just looking to break away here, one slightly fatter one, and even just to sit that on a saucer of water on the windowsill and just invite people to admire it would be lovely. So we can do other simpler things as well. I have got, this is a table mat, and I've just put elastic bands over it. I've made a patchwork, not patchwork, a framework out of it, and this is a coaster. So you could have the flowery pattern side or the plain side, and this coaster, I'll just work with the coaster because it's smaller, and you could bring in a whole load of herbs or foliage from the garden and just snip them and have a little selection available for people to make up their own little arrangements. So this is the mint, this is the mock orange, and what else have I got here? I have got these wee spray chrysanthemums, so just cut one of them off. Can't stop smelling that. And I'm just basically, I'm going to just tuck the mint in between the elastic bands. Now these won't stay fresh for very long, but it's such a simple activity and it's a lovely way to bring the garden inside. The scent of the mint is lovely. It really is so strong. And this could sit by somebody's bedside or on the windowsill. And a wee pop of colour in here. Just squeeze that in. No water required, but we've got a lovely little arrangement that everybody could take a wee while to make all the foliage gathered together on the table, and everybody can make their own little arrangement to take to the room or give away as a gift. And once everybody's done that, of course, they get to enjoy a cup of tea. Now, sadly, I knocked my chamomile tea over, but anyway, that's just too bad. So I've got my mint tea, I've got something to look forward to. And you can probably see the colour is now going a kind of greeny colour, but that's a good colour. And I'm just going to strain my tea, catch all the leaves. Put it back in my saucer because it's proper afternoon tea we're doing here, and that is lovely. I'm sorry you can't have any of it, but that is the freshest thing I've tasted in a long, long time. And I think that will do, Jenny, because that's our 5 to 3. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joan. It looks delicious. I can smell the mint from here.
Oh, good.
That's just lovely. Oh, well, back to our audience here. Fantastic, lots of lovely ideas there, and just all about bringing the outside inside, and also that whole thing about going out to the garden and looking at each plant, or just selecting the foliage and the flowers to bring in. That's great activities for people. So Ed's saying brilliant, thank you, Joan, that's wonderful. And I wonder if anybody would like to share. Has anybody tried any of this flower arranging, or do you have any particular questions you want to perhaps raise your hand and ask us? Anybody want to start us off? Well, who's had a go first of all? Who's had a go at the flower arranging with a group or themselves? Nope. Oh, I can't hear you, Joan. Oh, hi, Beatrice.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, we grow a lot of mint, lots of different types of mint in our garden in Banchory, and I have a mint tea every single time we're working, and try to get the group to either smell the mint or have a cup of tea themselves. But it's definitely lovely.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely. And as you said, Beatrice, there's so many types of mint available. That's an activity in itself. I've got pineapple mint growing, I've got strawberry mint growing, I've got the spearmint. I mean, like, you could have a mint garden on its own and have a different cup of tea almost every day of the week easily.
Oh, absolutely, because the foliage, the leaves look different depending on the mint plant. Yeah. And it's lovely to feel them. We've got apple mint, which is a lovely soft leaf.
Yeah.
It's a big leaf, and it's nice to feel it.
Yes.
Very different
absolutely.
to peppermint. Spearmint even. Yeah.
Just for others to see, this is spearmint, pineapple mint. That's kind of like creamy and green, variegated, and then the strawberry mint has kind of got a smaller, crinkly leaf, which is it's a great activity just to get people handling and touching and smelling, and then cut it up and mix it up in some ice cream. Delicious.
Lovely. Mandy's oh no, someone asked, Daniela asked, which mint plant did you use today? Which type of mint was it?
That was white spearmint.
White spearmint. Okay.
It was really nice. It was and it grows really tall, and it responds very well to being pruned. So it's a great plant. You can use it as much as you want, and it just keeps on growing and giving you more.
That's great. For those of you who sometimes the raise your hand isn't very obvious, and you have to click on the more 3 dots at the bottom. If you move your cursor down, it sometimes comes up under more. I got that right. Can't see them actually. Mine have been hidden today as well. I don't think I could raise my hand if I wanted to. Reactions, it's called reactions. It's the bottom of that. If you hover over the 3 dots, it says reactions. If you click on that, you can raise your hand. I think Zoom are getting more complicated as we go along. They're adding more features, but it just makes it more difficult to see things. Okay, so Mandy is asking, you could put flower heads in a bowl of water. Once if the foliage is gone and you just have the flower heads, you could just float them in water, couldn't you? That would be
I was just saying, I do that sometimes to keep, you know, a bunch of flowers going when it's really died down, but maybe there's a few blooms that are still lovely. So it just looks so pretty. You get another week out of it.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Excellent.
And even when you're down to that last one, you can just get a teacup and just float it in the teacup, and the teacup actually kind of like props it up a little bit as well. So there's
lots of ways. That mock orange looked beautiful.
Oh, it's just a beautiful plant.
It just looked lovely, didn't it? That would be very nice. Just on its own in that, just to look at it, wouldn't it? Okay, Lorna, we did the Christmas wreath flower arranging after watching your video. Oh, please tell us about that. Where's Lorna? Lorna, would you like to unmute and tell us about it?
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we played your video live. We did the live Zoom in front of our group because we got an art group on that particular day. So we played it live at the time, and then obviously rewatched the videos because some take a lot longer, a lot more time. But yeah, they loved it. They loved it. And then we redid it again because it was so popular, and they brought in their own things that they wanted to do, and we spread it over a series of weeks. So yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, great. So did people get to take them home, or what did you do with the wreaths that you made?
We did too, and I've done it also with everything that you've done. So we've done like with the little planting of seeds that we've done, that you've sent out, that we've always done 2 pots, one for themselves to keep and one to hand on to a neighbour, a friend, or encourage more people to get involved. So it's sort of something for themselves and something to share with others.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? That's a really nice way to do it, and everybody gets to keep one, but and give a gift. That's a lovely thing to do, isn't it? Yeah.
And encourage others to actively get involved that may not have thought about something before.
Yeah. Oh, fabulous. That's fantastic. You have to send us some photos if you can. It's lovely that we can post them up.
Yeah.
That'd be really nice. And the coasters, Lorna, you were talking about them. I thought that was a really lovely idea, isn't it? Just to have that in your hand and be able to kind of get it to spark off a sensory activity.
And it's just something so easy that's relatively cheap. Anybody could do. Even somebody, like you say, who's not very confident and it's quite new to them. It's quite quick for people that have got really short attention or lower capability, or just that their hands hurt. Easier, because I mean somebody else can do the elastic bands that is more capable, or hands don't hurt or are more mobile, and then they can just chip in, especially if you use the herbs, because you know essentially that smell.
It's great. And of course, like, you can reuse the coaster and the elastic bands, you know. The foliage will only last a couple of days, but the coaster and the bands will last all year, plus years.
Plus.
I've been buying them in charity shops again, Joan, those coasters, after you bought all the Christmas mugs in charity shops.
I'll tell you, my local charity shop, I think the girl actually starts to put stuff to the side. She goes, oh, I thought you might like this. So I'm a charity shopper.
That's brilliant. And Ed's message to say, definitely inspired to pick not just flowers but foliage as well to make an arrangement. Because
the foliage, if you take the time and just that in itself is an activity, and just if you go slowly and just cut some of the foliage, you get to see all the different way that the leaves grow, the different shapes of leaves, the different colours, the shades and tones of green. A tub of green leaves can every bit as lovely to look at as a very floriferous one. So yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Oh, and Mary Laura says the tape on top of the vase. That's interesting for people. Yeah, yeah, it's very good. A really good way to get your stems to stand where you want them to, isn't it? Yeah, because as you said, Joan, I mean, we've all tried it and things flop all over the place, and you get exasperated. With how you can make it, stand up the way you want it to.
And you know, like if you make your framework, the trellis, so to speak, and you've made 9 holes, you can support those more anxious people, less confident folks, by giving them 9 stems, and really the job is just to put the 9 stems in the 9 holes, and they've done it. You know, like, it's regardless of what it looks like, it's going to look beautiful. If you've cut the stems to 1.5 times the height of the vase, it's going to be beautiful. Regardless of how it goes in, it will be beautiful.
Absolutely.
That's terrific. Has anyone got any last minute questions there that we want to ask while we're all together? Because we've run out of time. We've had so much enjoyment from that, Joan, today. It's lovely, and a real variety of different ways to approach arranging flowers, and very enjoyable and fantastic it was. Thank you very, very much. And thank you to everybody that's contributed to today's live Zoom. We look forward to seeing you at future sessions. As I said, we're back in September with some autumn and winter activities. We'll be doing activities from September through till about February. And but we'll send out an email with our dates to remind you what's happening when, and please sign up as soon as you can and register for them online, and that'd be fantastic. In the meantime, we're going to leave you with the Trellis YouTube channel, because there's lots of how-to videos there if you're looking for some ideas. We've got seasonal gardening online training. You can try that for free if you want. We've got activity sheets as well if you're looking for more inspiration. And as I said, we've got the new gardening activities book coming out soon, so look out for that. How did you get on, Beatrice? You were walking, I believe.
I was.
You were in the Aberdeen Kilt Walk. What was that like?
I was. Well, I thought Scotland could deliver and at least keep the weather and dry for us, but no, it didn't. So we were rained off on and off, but I mean, yeah, one was walking. It was a great atmosphere, and I was walking with one of my volunteers from the Battlefield Rose Garden, and she's 74.
Oh wow!
So we'd agreed to walk together so I could walk at her pace. So we did a good job. We really enjoyed it. It was a nice way to see the back of Aberdeen, because we were on the railway track. So you don't always see some of the back gardens or houses that we've got hidden away.
Yes.
So yeah, and beautiful countryside. I actually posted quite a lot of photos, but maybe I could, that's on my Facebook page.
Okay.
Just to see the countryside, you know, from so we started from the back of we started at Crathy's Castle all the way to Duthie Park in Aberdeen. But yeah, it was very good, thank you. So raised a bit of money, so we'll do better next year, but we've got £200 coming.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Well done to both of you. And that's the Kilt Walk. The Kilt Walk, for anyone who's interested, it's still to run in Dundee and Edinburgh, or you can do it virtually. You can set your own walk and do it virtually, which is great, and fundraise for Trellis. We'd really appreciate that. And as Beatrice says, it's great. You can get to see into all the back gardens as you go around.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Get some garden inspiration on the way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, because we took a picnic. We did it really very leisurely. We had our cup of tea,
Oh,
sitting on a wall, overlooking the fields, and the cows were there. So no, it was all very nice. Yeah.
Excellent.
fabulous. Thanks so
thank
much,
you.
Beatrice,
Yeah.
sharing that with us. That's